Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri Ramesh Baisji, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Eknath Shinde ji, Honorable Speaker of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, Shri Rahul Narvekar ji, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis ji, Dr. Srimati Neelam Gore, Honorable Deputy Chairman, Maharashtra Legislative Assembly Council, Shri Vijay Ved Tiwar, Leader of Opposition in Maharashtra Assembly, Shri Ambadas Danve, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Maharashtra Legislative Council, Honorable Members, Honorable Ministers, everyone present here. Let me start by looking at the opposition. When we sit in legislature, the treasury bench is on the right side, but your heart is on the left side. And that should define the working of the chair. It is a matter of great honor to be with you all today. Grateful to Assembly Speaker Rahul Narvekar ji and Council Deputy Chairperson Dr. Neelam Gore ji for affording me this valuable opportunity to share my thoughts on an important subject with you all. This House, as indicated by the Honorable Governor, has upheld the spirit of serving people in highest regard since its inception. Maharashtra Legislative Council is in its centennial celebration. Indeed, privileged and honored to be addressing members of both the houses at this remarkable milestone. The state of Maharashtra stands as an inspiration with its rich history, vibrant culture, and dynamic economy. The state is bountifully blessed with breathtaking landscapes of Sahyadri and pristine beaches of Konkan. Maharashtra today is a powerhouse that is propelling the nation to new heights. Honorable members, इस महान पुण्य भूमि में आकर मुझे एक गीत याद आता है। देखो देखो मुल्क मराठों का ये, यहां शिवाजी डोला था। मुगलों की ताकत को जिसने तलवारों पे तोला था, हर पर्वत पे आग जली थी, हर पत्थर एक शोला था। बोली हर हर महादेव की, बच्चा बच्चा बोला था। शेर शिवाजी ने रखी थी, लाज हमारी शान की। इस मिट्टी से तिलक करो, ये धरती है बलिदान की। मैं इस धरती को नमन करता हूं। This great land of Shivaji Maharaj has led our motherland and its progress for centuries, achieving remarkable feats and contributing significantly to India's history. भारत का इतिहास बिना शिवाजी महाराज के अधूरा नहीं, खाली नजर आता है। The principles of Maratha Swarajya, incorporating a decentralized polity, meritocracy, rule of law, economic development, and public welfare into its administrative framework, it serves as a role model for inspiring greater efficiency, accountability, and responsiveness in public service and its delivery across the globe. Honorable members, very befittingly, very appropriately, the framers of our Constitution gave pride of place to dauntless Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj by positioning his painting in part 15 of the Constitution that deals with elections, the heart of our democracy. There are 22 paintings in part 15 that deals with elections. The painting that is positioned is that of Shivaji Maharaj. Honorable members, as legislators and custodians of this venerable institution of democracy, you all bear a sacred duty to protect the interests of the public. Your mission should be to align closely with the principles of common good, ensuring welfare and security of all citizens of Bharat, keeping aside partisan interest. Honorable members, we have a very rich history, a civilizational depth of 5,000 years. India since antiquity has been deeply rooted in democratic values. It is no surprise then that as home to 1/6 of humanity, we are the world's largest democracy and also mother of democracy, towards which and presently countless nations across the globe look to us for counsel. Honorable members, in the contemporaneous global scenario, with its phenomenal economic upsurge and diplomatic prowess, India's relevance is like never before, and its rise is continually, exponentially incremental and now unstoppable. In this backdrop, the subject of the day, enhancement of democratic values and ethics in our country, is of utmost importance. It is contemporaneously very relevant. Bharat has to emerge as a role model for democracy by example in the entire world. Ethics and morality have been hallmark of public life in India since ancient times. Go to any part of our history. Ethics and morality have been predominant. Whatever be the nature of rule, people looked up to those who propagated ethics and morality. Ethics and morality are nectar and essence of human behavior. These are inalienable facets of public life and quintessential for parliamentary democracy. Honorable members, Parliament and state legislatures are North Star of democracy. They are North Star. Members of Parliament and legislatures are lighthouses. People look up to you to find solution to their problems and how they should move ahead. And therefore, it is bounden duty of parliamentarians and those in the legislatures to exemplify sterling conduct that is worth emulation. You have to be role models so that people at large willingly follow you. Democratic values call for regular nurturing. Like learning never stops. Even if you leave college, you have to continue learning. Democratic values are not one-time situation. They have to be nurtured 24/7. Democratic values blossom only when there is cooperation all around and high ethical standards. And the best soothing, wholesome environment takes place when left and right converge to solve the problems of the people at large. Honorable members, the nation marches ahead seamlessly, smoothly, and exponentially when its three wings, the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive, perform within their respective areas. There has to be strict adherence to the doctrine of separation of powers. An incursion by one institution in the domain of the other has potential to upset the delicate balance. And this delicate balance has to be preserved, be it executive, legislature, or judiciary by the legislature. Legislature has a predominant role to ensure that doctrine of separation of powers is fully respected. Honorable members, you are fully aware with your huge experience, and when we are in centennial celebration, legislation is exclusive domain of legislature and parliament, subject to constitutional prescriptions. Now, we have ample instances where there are directives, either from executive or from judiciary. These directives are in the face of statutory provisions. There is time now. We need to have consensual resolution of these issues, because transgressions will really upset the working of all the institutions in the nation. I therefore strongly urge there is need for evolution of a structured mechanism of interaction amongst those at the apex of these pillars of democracy. All three wings need to interact regularly so that there is greater collaboration, greater cooperation, and greater consensual approach. Honorable members, this can happen only when in this theatre, similar theatres, temples of democracy, we perform optimally. We give our very best. They perform with a view to secure that there is full play in the joints by all three wings of the state. This harmony is all important. This harmony is vital for democracy. And once we achieve it, our progress will be incremental. Honorable members, it is apparent that presently all is not well with functioning of our parliament and legislatures. These temples of democracy are suffering sacrilege of statized disruptions and disturbance. Dialogue amongst parties is missing. It is essential. There can be no escape. That there has to be involved, friendly, collaborative dialogue between all sections of the House. Dialogue amongst parties is missing, and the level of discourse, the manner in which we address, is nosediving. Honorable members, I seek to advert to the Ethics Committee of Rajya Sabha. In the entire country, it was for the first time, towards the end of last century, that Ethics Committee was formed in Rajya Sabha. A distinguished member, then of Parliament, a great statesman, late Shri S.B. Chauhan, chaired that meeting. He gave a remarkable report after getting input from public platforms, from legislators, from academicians, and after doing that very hard work, the report is amazingly rewarding for us if we follow it. Two obligations which Ethics Committee headed by late Shri S.B. Chauhan imparted, I'll focus on them. One, members must not do anything that brings disrepute to Parliament and affects their credibility. We have to introspect. We have to search our hearts and soul. Are we living up to that requirement? Are we really doing something which does not bring the institution in disrepute? And secondly, members must utilize their position as members of Parliament to advance general well-being of the people. Honorable members, the litmus test and the test report on these twin aspects is indeed at the moment worrisomely alarming. The observance of wholesome directives is more in breach than in following. Rather than being cordial, which is required, there has to be cordiality. Rather than being cordial, there is confrontational stance. With amiability that has been displaced by adversarial situations. democratic polity is witnessing a new law, and there is stress and strain. Such explosive and alarming scenario calls for introspection at all levels, particularly at the level of political parties. Honorable members, as members of our esteemed legislature, we bear profound responsibility not only to uphold the laws of our land, but also to maintain the dignity and credibility of our legislatures. Each of us has been entrusted by our constituents with the sacred duty to represent their voices and aspirations with integrity and sincerity. Honorable members, it is imperative, it is unavoidably necessary that we conduct ourselves in a manner that befits our role as lawmakers. Our actions must always reflect the highest standards, ethical conduct, and transparency. Anything less will not only diminish the respect of our institution, but will also betray the trust of the people. In morality and ethics, there can be no percentage. Morality and ethics have to be performed 100%. Decorum and discipline are the heart and soul of democracy. प्रजातंत्र की आत्मा है. समाज कैसा हो, चर्चा किस स्तर की हो. The strength of democracy lies in diversity of opinions and ability to find common ground through constructive engagement. It is a system that thrives. Democracy thrives on dialogue, debate, discussion, and deliberation. Parliamentarians are not part of debating society. They don't have to earn brownie points. They do not engage into who wins a debate, because they are pursuing a common cause, and therefore I strongly commend the parliamentarians and those in legislatures must contribute in humility, in sublimity, in modesty. Honorable members, one point which has bothered me for long. We are not accommodative of the other point of view. We steadfastly cling to our point of view. We reject the other point of view without even consideration. Democracy does not allow this. You have your option. In your wisdom, you can reject the point of view, but its consideration is necessary. Very often you will find that the other point of view is correct point of view. Honorable members, if we look to our history, our legislative assemblies and parliament have largely functioned in calm and composed way. Let me remind you, the Constituent Assembly met for nearly 3 years. It had 18 sessions. They had before them divisive issues, emotive issues, contentious issues of language, of religion. But during all those 3 years and every session, there was no disruption. There was no disturbance, not to speak of shouting slogans and trooping into the well. Time has come when we search our soul. If framers of our constitution could so demonstrate, let us make Constituent Assembly functioning as role model for our functioning. Honorable members, the people at large will take note of assembly or parliament by the level of debate, the depth of the debate, the richness of the debate, the futuristic aspect. And today, dialogue, deliberation and discussion has yielded to disruption and disturbance. I therefore say all is not well and we are under strain. But this is a problem outsiders can't solve. The problem has to be solved from within. Weaponizing of politics by stalling function of parliament is pregnant with serious consequences for our polity. And this weaponizing is across political parties. And therefore, political parties have to come on one platform. There must be consensus that how can you weaponize disturbance, disruption, trooping into the house, shouting slogans. No party is immune to it. They have to converge, synergize, and be torchbearers so that we get rid of this something which is as serious as COVID. Honorable members, there is an imperative need for maintaining strict adherence to democratic values and parliamentary traditions in our legislatures. The kind of conduct that is seen these days calls for introspection. Each of you who is present, everyone who is member of legislature and parliament, is there by act of divinity. Your name is etched in history. Whatever you will say, future generations will go through that. And therefore, it is our bounden duty, constitutional ordainment, that we conduct ourselves in a manner that future generations come to know that yes, particular member of the legislature or parliament on this particular issue said so. Go to the Constituent Assembly debates and you will find what kind of contributions was made by several members. It is not essential that your point of view be accepted. The fact that you have made a point is important. Sometimes a point may be too early for a time. It may be relevant at a later point, but then your making it is important. Honorable members, I say it with some sense of pain. It is deeply concerning. There is a trend to make chairman and speaker convenient punching bag, either side. This is inappropriate. When we take this chair, we have to be equitable. We have to be fair. It is our duty to engage sometimes in present working, sometimes to deal with unpleasant situations. And therefore, this temple of democracy should never be sacrileged. Respect for the chair must always be there. And for this, senior members in parliament and legislature have to lead the way. Honorable members, our constitution provides parliamentarians and legislators with one great right, and that right is under Article 105 of the Constitution. Members have full freedom to say anything in the House. Whatever you say in the House, there can be no civil or criminal litigation. So the right which you got here, 1.3 billion and more people, can neither take you to court nor to civil litigation. When you have such a right, there is greater obligation on you that this right is a privilege. This privilege has to be maintained. Legislatures and parliament cannot be a place for free fall of information. Whatever you say in the House must be after due diligence. You must be ever prepared to authenticate it. What you say goes into history. What you say is carried as credible. What you say, no one can take exception. The entire justice system cannot handle it because you have immunity here. So when you get that precious immunity, that rare, unprecedented, unparalleled right to express yourselves, you have to be extremely careful, extremely cautious. I'm sure you'll bear that in mind. Another thing which is lacking, I was elected to Parliament in 1989. I had the good fortune to be a minister. There was a time we had amiability, cordiality, we had wit, humor, satire, sarcasm. These are getting away from us. I'm sure we need to be back in the groove. Instead of satire, instead of wit, instead of humor, instead of sarcasm, what we have is adversarial scenario, confrontational approach. We need collaboration. We need consensual approach. We are at the other extreme. Let me share with you, friends. Whenever I go to educational institutions, and I love going there, and I am virtually going every fortnight, nothing is more distressing, nothing is more distasteful for the people at large when they come to know Parliament is not functioning. When they come to know there is disruption, there is disturbance. I therefore appeal to you that people have chosen you under difficult situations, because every election is difficult. You pass through a very severe test. You have to come up to their expectations. You have to conduct in a manner that you become role models. I appeal to all political parties also to seriously think within and with other political parties. I had to face serious situation in the House, in my chamber. Parliamentarians will come. They are talented people. They are dedicated people. But they will say, there is party command. Now I realize the compulsion of members. The party has so commanded, there is hardly a way you will listen to the chair. But I appeal to you, and through you political parties, how can a political party give command for disruption, for disturbance, for slogan shouting, for trooping into the well? I therefore appeal all political parties. We are in the 75th year of our democracy. We are on march to 2047, when the nation will celebrate centenary of its independence. We will be Viksit Bharat. There is a marathon march that is going on for 2047. You all are most important part, stakeholders and driving engines of that marathon march. Therefore, you will have to lead by example. You will have to lead by playing on front foot with a straight bat. And I am sure political parties should inculcate in their members a deep sense of discipline. They should reward those members whose performance has been excellent, rather than reward those who engage in slogan shouting and trooping in the well. It is very painful for chair to see that kind of a scenario. Honorable members, one of the primary responsibilities that we have to examine laws, and very carefully. Every member has a right to participate either in a committee or in the House. I urge the members to be thoroughly prepared. There are a number of times, sometimes this side may be in power, sometimes this side may be in power, but governments often come with amendments because in the House, a well-informed member has made a point. We cannot find fault with law when we don't take participation in the proceedings. There can be no alibi, according to me, for not participation. And how cruel it is, how it is travesty of justice that on one hand, a person does not participate in deliberations when there is an opportunity. On the second hand, you seek to monetize your absence. How can failure be monetized? How can non-performance of duty be monetized? I am sure you will bear in mind. Let me tell you, adjournment of the House always goes to the advantage of the Treasury benches, because opposition has to hold the executive accountable to ensure transparency, and a large signal goes to the people at large if the opposition vigilantly puts the Treasury benches to the mat. Therefore, every moment has to be utilized in larger public interest. Honorable members, I conclude by a quote from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I quote, "In addition to our old enemies in the form of castes and creeds, we are going to have many political parties with diverse and opposing political creeds. Will Indians place the country above their creed, or will they place creed above the country? I do not know, Dr. Ambedkar Singh, I do not know. But this much is certain, that if the parties place creed above country, our independence will be put in jeopardy a second time and probably be lost forever. This eventuality we must all resolutely guard against, unquote. Now, these words of Dr. Ambedkar should resonate in our ears. He has cautioned us, because if the nation has to go up, make its mark at a global level, we have to not only hear what he said, but act on that. I trust you all will ponder over Baba Sahib's words of caution and sagacity. I extend my best wishes to the honorable members of Maharashtra legislatures and to all people of the state on their continued journey towards prosperity and inclusivity. Bharat, as I said before, is on way to becoming a Viksit nation at 2047. In this marathon march, the most significant drivers are parliamentarians at state and central level. Parliamentarians must lead by example. May you continue to be a beacon of progress and resilience for the nation and the world to emulate. I am grateful for your time and patience. This for me is a great opportunity, and I am beholden to the Honorable Speaker and the Honorable Deputy Chairman for affording me this opportunity. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.